Welcome to Recovery Recreation TV. I'm your host, Susie Lordy. I'm also the founder of a 501c3 called 24 Hour Power, Inc. We do recovery graffiti all over Massachusetts. And what we found was, at a lot of our events, people were coming up to us and saying, there's nothing fun going on around here. Now, we know that can't be true. So what we decided to do was go hunt down cool things to do all over Massachusetts. As I like to say, from Fitchburg to Falmouth and everywhere in between, we try to bring you, if possible, 2 stories from 2 different zip codes in Massachusetts that show you some cool things that you can do that are drug and alcohol free. Because let's face it, you gotta enjoy sobriety or forget about it, right? Don't think you can't have fun sober? You just haven't hung out with us yet. And on that topic of having fun sober, I've got to say that things have changed. And what we have to find is we have to step up our game, right? People in the recovery community, and present opportunities for this younger generation to be able to find some really good things to do, high octane fun for them, right? Because if we expect them to just change their lifestyle and that's it, we need an alternative. And fortunately, we do have some. And this girl that I'm going to introduce you to today, a very cool young woman named Carissa Johnson. She's going to show us some cool things we can do in sobriety. Hi, Carissa. So nice to meet you.
You too. Thanks so much for having me. Very, very happy to be here.
I was blown away when I did a little search for what's going on in the month of, February in Massachusetts, little Google search, and I come up with this Sober Curious events at a place called The Jungle in Somerville. I'm like, what is this all about?
Yeah. I'm so glad you found it, because I'm glad it's getting out there. It's an idea I had, just kind of popped into my head one day, where I just wanted to bring sober events into the jungle and create a space for younger artists. I started out playing music when I was really young, and a lot of times didn't have a space to play, or I couldn't even sell my merch because I was too young to be in the room. And so starting out at the younger clubs, or starting out as a younger player in these bigger clubs, or where there's older people drinking, I was like thinking about it. I'm like, man, I gotta put myself back to when I was 15 and 16. Like, where are those venues now for kids? So I wanted to create
they're not.
that.
So we're lucky that we've got the jungle. But before we get to the jungle, you have such a cool story. I want to hear all about Carissa Johnson.
Yeah.
I know you got over like 5,000 likes and everything. I'm like, look, who is this girl? This young girl. And you are young. I mean, how old are you? Like 25?
25.
Wow. Okay, go ahead.
So I started when I was 15, played bass in a couple bands around the city. And before that was trying to, play it around greater Boston, Lowell, kind of New Hampshire area. Eventually branched into Cambridge, Somerville with the band. Went to college for art, but then left to pursue the music. And then I ended up starting my own solo thing, just under Carissa Johnson. And eventually we played the Rock and Roll Rumble in 2017, and we ended up winning that year, which then led us to a ton of really cool opportunities. We were able to record a bunch of new songs in Boston studios, and we just really started playing around town.
What was the name of the band that won the Rumble?
It just went under my name, just Carissa Johnson.
Sweet!
And then that later turned into Carissa Johnson and the Cure-Alls. It was a mixture of my drummer and my guitarist's last name, Curran and Hall.
Oh.
And we started touring, and I started doing a lot of touring outside of just regional New England. And I've been on the road for the past 2 years, just playing music as a solo acoustic artist as well, and putting out albums as consistently as possible, close to every year, every other year.
I mean, you even have a book coming out now, right?
Yeah, we're hoping to get it out by the end of this year. It's in the works right now. We're taking it chapter by chapter. And just the how-tos of being a DIY, do-it-yourself artist without a full team behind you. Because we get a lot of questions from other bands asking, how do you do this? How do you manage to do this? And how can
Where do you
live?
stay? And
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
So it's all those things where we started learning all the kind of like tricks and like just kind of just how to do it from doing it. And so we wanted to share it all. So we wanted to just have like one common place to share everything. And be like,
it's
here
2 women doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's empowering.
Yeah,
from my
very
perspective.
exciting. Yeah.
I think that's wicked cool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you and I mean, we travel in some of the same circles already, right? Because I know that you did the Beanstalk Music Festival, which is on once a year. The Sun Will Rise Foundation is a phenomenal nonprofit based out of Braintree, Mass. And an equally phenomenal woman, Robin Bean, runs it from her son, Nick Bean, that passed away due to opioid abuse. And she puts on an incredible day of music. And then as the evening starts winding down, there's a beautiful opioid vigil that takes place that's, you know, a tearjerker for sure. And 24 Hour Power is fortunate enough because if it wasn't for Robin Bean, she gave 24 Hour Power our very first break after our first event.
Oh, wow.
We feel very blessed, and the music there was phenomenal. So if you were there, you were phenomenal. So what was your experience with that one festival?
It was such a cool time because I had just gotten off a tour with Vanessa, and I had come home and I was back with the band. So we loved it. As soon as Robin got in touch with the inquiry, we were like, yes. Yeah, I love it when shows incorporate other things besides just the live music because it's so much more than just a show. It's an experience. And it's like having the graffiti, having, you know, the vigil, having like all of this surrounding energy and communities, like really what I'm all about and what I'm trying to incorporate everywhere I go.
It's the community atmosphere.
Yeah.
It is. It's bringing everybody together from all the, and this is a good segue to the jungle now.
Yeah.
Because to me, it seems like the jungle, this is like a community club, no?
It is. It started out, yeah, and it's fairly new too as a venue. It's pretty young. It started out in May of 2019.
Come on,
so it's
so
not
it's only
even
a few
year
months old?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know it was that young.
Yeah, it's still pretty fresh, and I got
It's
so
gotta have
excited.
some cool owners.
I met them through Vanessa when I
Okay.
was on tour. So I actually met one of the owners, Heather, when I was in Nashville. She was the first person I ever stayed with on tour. And she happened to be from my hometown of Andover, Mass.
Oh.
And she was friends with Vanessa, who I was on tour with, through being a band that Vanessa was artist developing at the time when she was living in LA.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
so it was all these kind of like worlds mixing, and we were like, wait, you're from Andover? We went to the same high school. My mom
No
delivered her mail. It's like all these like crazy things. So I met Heather down there, and she was saying she was thinking of moving from Nashville back to Andover to start a club with her friend Sam, who used to intern with Vanessa back in LA, and that's how they knew each other. So
Sam Epstein.
Sam Epstein.
Yeah, very nice man.
Yeah.
Spoke with him on the phone.
Yeah.
Can't wait to go see this club.
He's great, and it's such a cool space, and it's just such a comfortable just vibe all around.
So
and,
these people have artist backgrounds,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
That decided these
musicians
aren't just
themselves.
business people
No.
that said, "Hey, let's do a club in Somerville."
Yeah.
These are people that you know.
They genuinely love the
Yeah, yeah,
scene,
that's
and they love
cool.
the community, and they're there to help the community. So
Neat.
it's very cool. I'm so glad they took me on as a booker, and I've been able to curate these different events and bring in all different types of genres, art, and all the stuff that we're going to be, you know, collaborating on in the future.
So when you're doing an all ages show,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're talking like kids in high school can come here. And
Anybody?
beyond?
Yeah, I think we've had close to an 11 or 12-year-old perform. And we can even
Wow.
have like, and that's young. I mean, I wasn't even performing.
Oh,
when
yeah.
I was, you know, that's like, wow, that takes a lot of guts. But I want that. I want kids to come in and have a safe place in the city. Because I remember when I got my first gig in the city in like 2010, I was like 15, and I was like, oh my God, I'm playing Somerville. It was like the smallest thing ever. But it was like Somerville.
It was a living room.
Yeah, it was like, it was
No,
just
I
a little
know,
room
but you
matinee
loved
at
it.
like 2 p.m.
And it was huge.
And it was the biggest deal for me.
Of course it was.
Yeah, and so when I was thinking about, you know, where do kids start off now, a lot of those venues have literally been demolished, like
That's
since
true.
the time that I've, you know, been playing in the city, and venues have closed, venues have changed into other things, or like, you know, just the scene changes, and the crackdown on IDs has gotten even, you know,
Sure.
more serious. I was like, what can I do to make space for the kids? And the Sober Curious nights were what came out of that. And I'm a big advocate for sobriety. And so it
Yes.
just seemed like kind of like everything that I stood for was like, this is exactly what I need to do. I just made a post about it, and then it just took off. And so I'm so excited just to talk about it. And
So many people need this.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that it's like, given the opportunity to choose a bar room with, you know, Miller Lite on the floor and everything else by the time you get there, right?
Yeah.
Or showing up a couple hours earlier and seeing this. I know tons of people that
Yeah.
would prefer that.
me too. Yeah,
You
I
know?
would.
Whether they're in
yeah.
sobriety or not. Just
Totally.
kind of like, let's go see some local art, man. And
Yeah.
and these are all local musicians that you're booking, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they're all
it's all
people from
local.
Massachusetts, pretty
Yep.
much.
Yeah, Massachusetts, New Hampshire. Yeah.
Neat.
Yeah, so, and we've been open to touring acts as well, but for the Sober Curious events, it's mostly sticking to the local crowd, just to get the kids in from all the high schools in surrounding towns. And, and middle schools and elementary schools, just anyone who plays an instrument or wants to do something creative and a space for it, I'm so open to that.
So they could get up there and do a poetry slam.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I started some comedy nights as well at the Jungle.
Oh, neat.
And trying to bring in just every single genre, because a lot of venues can be genre limiting as well
Sure.
too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, as soon as I got onto the Jungle booking, I was like, okay, how can I bring everybody here and make this really cool?
I see spot. Recovery Graffiti there in the near future.
And Recovery Graffiti, yes.
There's no doubt.
And then the mixing of the worlds with music and graffiti and art and everything.
Let's do a live art performance,
that
really,
would be so cool.
While we've got live art going on, and you guys have live art going on.
Yeah, definitely.
One of the bands up there playing would be great.
And that's the space for that. So the Jungle is there. We open at 5 every day.
Okay.
And music usually starts like 8, 9 o'clock at night. But while the venue's still open, I'm trying to use that space for other things. So
the kids, so they know if it's going to be the sober curious part of the evening, it's going to happen between that 5 to 8 p.m. window, really,
exactly.
right?
Yep.
Which is great. So even if they have a curfew, they're home and they can still come home, do their homework.
Exactly.
And go to bed at a decent hour.
Yeah.
I like it.
And it's not on like Friday night would have heavier traffic too around that time. So it's taking place on Thursdays.
Oh,
and,
okay.
I'm trying to expand that to maybe another day of the week. And it's still, the Sober Curious nights are the freshest thing so far at the, like right now, as far as like, we're just getting started with those. But they've been going over so well that I'm so excited to bring
Well, you know what
in.
I thought was cool? So when I get a hold of this Sober Jungle people, right, before I'm even talking to you yet, and immediately they were so forthcoming and so helpful. Like Megan, here's a shout out to you. She's like, oh, you want to see my mock cocktail list that I came up with? I mean, this is what we're offering the kids.
Yeah.
That is just, it's such a nice. You know what I love to see? This is where the young energy comes in, right? And the focus and the determination and saying, hey, here's a niche that's not being filled.
Yeah.
And how do you know it's not being filled? You experienced it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I started 24 Hour Power Inc., Recovery Graffiti, because I could not stay sober back in the day because I wasn't having fun. And I knew it, and for 10 years I kept relapsing because I just was like, okay, I've done everything I'm supposed to do, but I'm bored to death.
Yeah.
And I'm not a nun, folks. So, you know what I mean? I had to find some really high octane fun for myself.
Yeah.
So the same, and for you knew growing up how few places there were that were going to accept you to let you play out.
Yeah.
But what a huge deal it was for you when you did.
Yeah, and so if I can
So
pay
cool.
that forward in any way, that's my goal. And to
Yeah.
just, now that I have played a lot of rooms in Boston I've dreamt about, I'm like, now I got to go back and see, the people starting out like I was in a 10 years later in the scene. So how are things different? How have things changed? And how can I help bring the younger bands in, because there's a lot of older bands in Boston that are great, but it's like there's a lot of space, I think. Same
That's great.
with the sobriety factor too. I felt like to give some people a safe space where maybe people are quiet about wanting to be sober or haven't found their people yet, or aren't vocal about it. I've witnessed that from when I'm vocal about being sober. I get so many people messaging me privately, like, thank you, like I'm working on it, I'm trying, but I don't really have anyone to kind of talk to about it. And I'm like, I want to let people know that I'm doing all of these things that all these other people are doing with, they're drinking, but I'm not drinking, and it's okay to do it without alcohol. And you're not a weirdo to do it without drinking or to say no to drinking.
See, you're the kind of role model we need for these kids.
And I feel like I want to be that.
This is
I
great.
want to, let people know that it's not a weird thing.
No, it's cool.
And it's cool.
It's
and you'll
actually
find your
cool
people.
to be sober.
Yeah.
It's cool to be sober and to embrace what you're good at and bring and jack it up 1,000 levels.
Totally. It makes everything so much better.
And it's a big misnomer. There's a big misnomer out there that says, oh, well, I won't be as creative if I'm not getting high. And it's like, you have no clue how much, that's the addiction talking to you.
Totally.
Saying, no, you have to get high. But really, what the bottom line is, you'll be way more creative. But unless they have role models like you that they think are cool already, and you will help them.
Yeah.
And it is a community gig. It
Yeah.
really is. So where is this jungle so people will know the actual location of it?
So it's located at 6 Sanborn Court, and that's right
Okay.
in Union Square, right behind the TV station and behind
Oh.
the Independent.
Aha, and our
Yeah.
show runs on the TV station in Somerville on Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. on Channel 3 in Somerville, and also 5 p.m. on Thursday nights on Channel 3 there in Somerville. So that's cool. We'll
Yeah.
definitely be promoting you on this thing.
Awesome, we're in the
And we'll make
backyard.
sure they come check out the jungle too.
Yeah.
So what is your lineup, just so we have it, for sober events coming up?
So in February, we have 2 Thursdays. We've got Lil Chemist and DJ Rymax on February 6th.
Sweet.
So that'll be DJ night. Very excited. That'll be the first DJ Sober Curious night.
Okay.
And then on the 13th, we've got my friend Henry McIntyre with his full band and Font Club. So very excited to
What
bring
kind of
those.
music?
It's like, I think it's indie rock, singer-songwriter with a good beat behind it.
There you go.
So that's on February 13th.
And they play originals.
Originals, yep.
Oh, see, I love this.
Yeah.
This is going to be great.
It's going to be good.
Okay, and do they have a website, newsletter? I mean, how do people pay attention to what's going on at the jungle?
Yeah, so the Jungle does have a newsletter. I believe you can sign up for that at thejunglemusicclub.com.
Okay.
And the booking is just through my email, carissajohnsonmusic@gmail.com.
Okay. And then if people want to come see you,
Yeah.
like what are they going to, when can they see you next?
So next full band opportunity to see us will be May 29th at the Paradise, which I'm very excited about.
Yes! I love that
It's
club.
my favorite venue. So very excited about that. More details to come. That'll
Okay.
be with the full band. And then I'll be on the road actually from mid-February all the way to mid-May. I'll be touring out
Wow.
west, driving out west through the south, and then driving back through the north and through the mountains just to visit some of my favorite spots and spend some time out in LA.
Neat. If people want to find out more about Carissa Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
how do they follow you?
So my website, where everything is based at, is carissajohnsonmusic.com.
Okay.
And then on Instagram and Facebook, it's just Carissa Johnson Music. So all of that, basically Carissa Johnson Music across the board.
And Carissa, it's been a blast having you.
It's been a blast being here. Thank you.
Oh my God, you're such a great part of the show, and this is going to be a future partnership we have
love
going
it.
on here. So we just got to start with this. This is so great, and we're going to be right back with more of Recovery Recreation TV. But first, we're going to just take a little tiny break. Don't think you can't have fun sober? You just haven't hung out with us yet. Stick around. Welcome back to Recovery Recreation. I'm your host, Susie Lordy. Don't think you can't have fun sober? You just haven't hung out with us yet. And what do they say about dance? They say you should dance like nobody's watching, right?
Right.
Well, here with us today, we have Rose Ward, and Rose is going to talk to us about a nonprofit located in Cambridge, Mass. And this thing's been around, if I'm not mistaken, since the 60s, right? It's called Dance Freedom Now. Rose, tell us more.
Thank you, Susie, for having us. Dance Free started out in the Cambridge Commons in 1968 with drumming. And we were allowed, but when it got cold, somebody contacted the church and it moved inside.
Huh.
And it's been a freestyle dance now for 52 plus years.
Wow. Well, I saw the pictures in the comments.
Well,
These people were having a blast, man. I mean, they're out there, they're barefoot. Now, are you guys still doing barefoot dancing to kind of like honor the roots, or?
We barefoot dance because it's the easiest way to dance in groups like the way we dance. There are people who, skip around the room, and there are people who roll around the room, but basically safety, everybody needs to take off their shoes so they don't step on anybody.
I like that, yeah. And in a safe environment. It's not like there's going to be beer bottles and stuff on the floor you're going to worry about.
No.
In fact, these are alcohol and drug-free events, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
If someone's going to come to Dance Freedom, right? First of all, what night of the week is it on?
It's on Wednesday nights. We have set up at 6 generally, and then we have a class.
Okay.
And the real dancing starts at 8. The class is varied, from belly dancing to massage to a punja circle to
Wow.
so yeah, and it's fun. And everything is geared towards teaching people how to move.
Well, Dance Freedom, I mean, just the name itself, it sounds so liberating. I mean, I've never heard of some of this. Like, how does massage get involved with any kind of dance?
Well, we have an instructor basically,
Okay.
and so everybody comes and they kind of pair up. However, they may come with a partner, they may not.
All right.
And he instructs sort of soft massage, and we listen to relaxing music, and we leave all the troubles of the world behind. And
neat.
just,
How long would that go on for?
It usually goes on for an hour.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, would that be considered the warmer part of this? Is that it?
Well-
So when you come in and you set up, you're setting up in the beginning, and then the very first activity might be massage, or it might be
Belly dance.
dancing, or okay. So somebody that doesn't know how to belly dance, right? Are they going to be intimidated by this? Like, is it an instructor again?
We have a lovely belly dancer who teaches, and she teaches just basic moves like how to, wiggle your hip or play with scarves or,
Oh, that's neat.
And-
like
and-
I Dream of Jeannie
Yeah,
stuff.
and doing hand movements, because with the scarves and the hand movements, you can carry that over into the dance.
Okay.
Because there's scarves available, and everybody likes to do their hands when they're expressing themselves, basically.
So I'm trying to picture this. We've got a function hall room pretty much, right? Like a decent sized space
Yeah.
that people are allowed to let loose.
Well, let loose with, respect.
No, I mean, right, correct. yeah, absolutely.
Dance how
Yeah.
like you said, dance like, no one's looking.
Dance like nobody's watching.
Because no one is going to be,
Right.
critical of you because you are moving how the music tells you to move.
Yeah, there's nothing else really like that. I mean, they're usually very, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Learn how to do, line dancing or something like this, where you're in
Very
a class.
structured.
Yeah, very structured. I've taken those, by the way, and I'm the one that's saying, okay, that's enough songs for me. I need a glass of water. I'm out of shape. But from this perspective, it sounds like anyone walking in off the street could really benefit from Dance Freedom to come in and just do this
Absolutely,
activity.
especially if they love to dance already.
So something like this, where it's a community activity, I can see people coming in enjoying it for their own benefit. I mean, even though I don't live in Cambridge, I'm allowed to come to this, right? If I want to come into the city?
It is a community that first time you walk through the door, you are part of the community, basically.
That's neat. What does it cost to go to something like this?
We have a sliding scale from 10 to whatever you can donate, basically.
Nice.
And we have many jobs that we would be happy for somebody to help with the setup, and that you can get in free. Students could be 5 with a ID.
Let's say people in early sobriety, because I want to target them with this, right? So let's say you're looking for something cool that you want to do and you want to give back, and you love dance anyways. But let's say you're good at social media.
We could always use help with that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of areas that you guys could use help with, where they could feel like they're paying their way to help with your movement, and at the same time get to enjoy some really cool dance action on a Wednesday night.
And feel validated for helping out a nonprofit.
Absolutely.
It's fun. I've learned so much.
Have you been in this church long?
I'm not sure how long they've been in the church, but I know it's been 20
years
or more years than
Okay.
that. They've popped around.
What's the name of the church?
First Church, it's at 11 Garden Street.
In Cambridge.
In Cambridge, next to the Sheridan Commander.
Okay.
It's
Where do you park to go to something
You
like
can,
this?
the meter's parking, it's, bring your quarters, or the T-stop is less than, it's right there in Harvard Square. You can take the
that's
red
cool.
line, yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's not like you're bringing dance equipment. You don't even need shoes.
No, you're not bringing dance equipment, thank goodness, you know. But if you get there at 6, there's generally a lot of parking, and that's when we start setup. But 18 and above.
Okay.
And there is a mix, you know, and there's, you know, again, there's a mix of music because as a DJ, you have to try to provide something for everyone. Basically.
So you have DJs there as well?
Yes.
It's not just like music piped in. You have someone up there that's playing the music. Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, and volunteer DJs.
If someone is a good DJ, let's say, could you use their services there too? I mean,
Absolutely.
would that be something? Would you like to get some kind of mentoring thing going on so other people could?
I'm always happy for DJs to come and play.
It sounds like there's such a wide variety of things you could be dancing to when you go there.
There is. It's
Wild.
expression.
Yeah, and it's free though.
It's free.
It's
free
it's very
expression.
much a freestyle, and like you said, so long as you don't impinge on someone else's space, you're doing it the way. I think that's neat. So do people dance together? Do they dance solo? Is it a combination?
Well, generally we start out with a circle.
Okay.
We end with a circle, definitely. And it's a slow dance that people join hands and dance to the music. And in the middle of that, between both beginning and end, you can dance by yourself. You know, if people feel like they need to be private, they can ask for a privacy bracelet, you know, just a little glow stick that they put around, and then people won't ask you to dance. You can just go and dance all by yourself.
Ooh,
and,
that's neat.
you know, you can dance as partners, you can dance in a group, you know, so
the instructor lets you kind of flow after the initial part.
there's no
right?
instructor after that.
I
It's
gotcha.
just music.
It's just and the music goes from what to
From
what?
8 to about 10:15 before the closing circle.
What a great workout.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
if someone wants to know how to get in touch with you guys and find out what's going on a regular basis, what is the website? Right?
It is dancefreedom.com.
Okay.
And we're also on Facebook as
Okay.
Dance Freedom, and Meetup is Dance Friday, Dance Freedom.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, so there's many ways to keep, you know, posted.
Huh. And Rose, your history with them now, you were dancing before. You put it down for a while. You picked it back up. No judgment, no anything. How did you even find this place?
Well, I was in a singing group, and I was complaining that I couldn't find a place to dance because, you know, most of it's alcohol-based, you know, meat market type varieties, you know.
There you go.
So a friend said, you have to try out Dance Friday. And I went and I said, oh, this is for me. You know, and I had teenage children at home, and I said, Friday night's mine. You be where you need to go at 7, because after that.
There you go.
Yes.
And if anybody wants more information on Dance Freedom, in addition to their website and like them on Facebook, you can always go to www.recoveryrectv.com. And we'll be happy to update you from there. Rose, it's been awesome having you on here.
Thank you, Susie, for having us, and I really appreciate what you're doing for, you know, people who need you.
Thank you. You too. I can't wait to come to Cambridge. So, and that's going to be a wrap. Until next time, don't think you can't have fun sober. You just haven't hung out with us yet. Peace out.